Hi, I'm Lois Powell. And I'm Susan Schuler, and we're here to share tips, tricks, ideas, and resources to help you discover what's your story.
Hey, Lois, how are you today?
I'm terrific, Susan. We're going to have some fun today.
I think so. I'm very excited for this edition of our podcast because I hear that you had an exciting experience this summer.
I did. I took a research trip in genealogy to the Allen County Genealogical Society or Center.
And where is that?
Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Excellent. So you guys drove to the Fort Wayne, Indiana library?
We did. It's probably from Palm Harbor, 17, 18 hours maybe.
Wow.
It's worth it. It's worth it.
Okay. And so that's the home of the Midwest Genealogical Center?
It is one of the largest genealogical libraries. In fact, I believe it is the second largest genealogical library in the U.S.
After Salt Lake?
Probably after Salt Lake.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yes. So it is an amazing place. It's 42,000 square feet.
Can you give us a brief overview about it a little bit? What they have there and what collections are there?
Oh, I can, but let me tell you, just try to picture like a house. What's that, 2,000 square feet?
About.
So this is 42,000 square feet. It is huge.
So this is just the Genealogy Center.
Just the Genealogy Center, which is on the second floor of the Fort Wayne Library. They have over 1.2 million physical items there. This, again, just genealogy. They've got over 68,000 family histories. 5 million what they call digital assets, all kinds of digital records. And they average about another 1,000 items coming in every month. So it was mind-blowing. I'll put it that way. It was absolutely mind-blowing. And they take care of the U.S., they got Canada, the British Isles, Europe, African Americans, and Native Americans are some of the main ethnic groups or regions that they focus on.
Wow.
So it's a very, very cool place.
It sounds like it.
It is.
So let's go back a little bit. And Lois, how did you get started in genealogy?
Wow, Susan, that's a heck of a question. Since I've been doing it for 40 plus years, maybe longer, beginning is hard to remember, but I think it's more than likely in the fact that my dad knew a lot about his family and my mom did not know a lot about her family other than, and you guys have heard me say this in a podcast, they come from Germany. That pretty much covered it. And so we didn't have a lot of history. She didn't know her grandparents' last name exactly. There were many different versions that the folklore said. So I think that's probably how I got started. And I remember one of our early investigations going to the Buffalo, one of the cemeteries there, looking for an Aunt Matilda and even playing music and dancing to Aunt Matilda. By the way, we never did find her, but that's a whole nother story for another time.
Mm-hmm. So I like the fact that you just brought up that a lot of your research takes place in Buffalo, but you were able to go to the Allen County Public Library in Indiana for research.
Yes, again, because there's such a large genealogical library in the U.S. So they have all kinds of, in fact, several of the genealogy librarians there, they have about 6 of them, something like that, 5 or 6 of them, specialize in different areas, even though they have broad range of knowledge. Some of them even focus on Buffalo. I found the Buffalo City directories on microfiche there. There's all kinds of information from all over the world. People from all over the world travel there. So it's a fantastic place. In fact, the research librarians, the gentleman I spoke with, John Beatty, he had been a reference librarian there since 1984, and he's the principal bibliographer. He's authored some 16-odd books on local and family history, and he's a board-certified genealogist since 2014. So we're talking some pretty knowledgeable individuals who can really help with your research.
That's amazing.
So yes, it's a great trip.
It sounds like it. Okay, so how did you prepare for your trip? You said, I'm going to go to the Allen County Public Library because you were driving through town, or you knew that's where you wanted to go, or it was a lifetime goal.
It started with probably, again, some research earlier on. And, when you're in various websites, you come across things that tell you, well, you can find this at. and I found a couple things said the Allen County Library. I had no idea what that was. I had no idea where that was. So they started researching, and that's when I learned all about the Allen County Library in Fort Wayne, and particularly the Genealogy Center. And I went to their website. Their website is very useful. I highly recommend it to everybody. They have a lot of online databases that you can go to and do research on without ever making a visit. They have an online catalog, so when you're prepping to go, you can take a look at the online catalog as to things you might want to look at or understand. They have Ask a Librarian, so you can put a question into a librarian through the website. So some stuff you can do without ever leaving home. We were heading on our way to Illinois to a family reunion, and I said to my husband, hey, it's only 5 hours away. Why don't we take a quick side trip? So we went to Fort Wayne, Indiana. Now, how did I prepare for that? Well, I did make an appointment, and I do recommend that unless you know exactly what you're going for. If you found something in the online catalog and you're saying, I'm going specifically to find this record in this book, sure, go ahead in. Otherwise, I recommend an appointment, particularly for like us where you're traveling. You have a limited amount of time you can spend there. I'd never been to the library before, so I couldn't even find anything if I tried. But you can also go anytime. It's a library.
So
everybody is welcome.
Walk in and say, I'm here for 2 days to do genealogy research. Point me in the right direction.
Pretty much. There's a lot of open spaces. There's a lot of research areas. There's areas where you can use the microfiche or the microfilm. There's pretty much you can just walk in and do research if you know what you're hunting for. Otherwise, you'll take 2 days and be a waste of time.
Yeah, but you benefited from making an appointment. In what way?
Well, let me back up a minute.
Sure.
I went with a specific question.
Smart.
Okay, I didn't go saying, hey, I'm here to do research on this whole family. I went saying, look, I have a 2 times great-grandfather. I've been searching 30 years for him. I can't get him out of Buffalo, New York. I'm sure anybody who's listened to our podcast have heard this story many, many, many times. And they emailed me back and said, okay, the time you've requested is available. Would you like to send us anything in advance in preparation for your visit that maybe would help us help you when you get here? Which was perfect. I actually requested a specific librarian who I could not get because she specialized in Buffalo. She was on vacation. John was fantastic. I don't think you have to request anybody special when you go there, but I didn't know that at the time. The librarian and I emailed back and forth several times. I sent some PDFs of my family group sheets and some of the research sources I had used so that they know where I had done research. So hopefully we weren't backtracking a lot. So that's my key thing is go prepared, have an appointment. So I think the other thing is I will say they're very friendly. They like to bring family along. It's a family thing.
It's great.
You don't have to go there by yourself if you don't want to. If you're like me, your family gets bored, so that doesn't work out. But it's okay.
So how successful were you getting answers to your question? Did you get Grandpa out of Buffalo?
Unfortunately, it was not an aha moment. I'm sorry to say. John had reviewed some of my information. They were set up such, kind of the way we're set up here in our library, where I can look at a screen, I can be working on something to show a patron who comes in, and the patron can be looking at the screen as well. So you can see what research we're doing. And he had looked at some family search documents, church documents he found. And basically he said, you're going the right direction. We know Buffalo's difficult. But he did have a couple things he helped me with. For example, for those of you who do a lot of research in old records and church records and you can't find information about them, but you might find a baptism, for example, that has the name of the sponsors. And I had tried to research the sponsors, but quite honestly, I had a lot of trouble reading their names. He did as well, but he suggested some different spellings. His interpretation of the names was different than mine. So I'm in the process of pursuing those because generally, if it was a sponsor, that meant it was a close friend, neighbor, or relative, and perhaps they came from the same area, so there might be something there. So I'm pursuing that. He also suggested writing to the Erie County Historical Society in my case, to find if they had any German organizations in the mid 1800s or organizations of printers, which was my 2 times great grandfather's occupation, that might have had a membership roster that might have said where they were from. So I have written to those. I have not heard back yet. So those were 2 very big things he did tell me. He did also take me around the library. He took me to find the city directories for Buffalo and showed me the microfiche and how to use it. We searched the microfiches. Yes, I found some names, but there was no additional information that was new for me. We then spent a few minutes talking about my grandfather's wife, Marguerite, and I had found that she came from a place called Vinen or Vinner, and I didn't know exactly where that was or how to contact. He showed me that they have, again, this is such a massive library. They have rows and rows and rows of documents on Europe or Africa, and he took me right to Germany, right to a series of books that told all about the parish registers and where you can find certain parishes in certain areas of Germany. So that's another area I'm pursuing, is to, can I pinpoint that parish? I took pictures of it with my phone. Modern day technology, why write something down if I don't have to?
Yeah.
And I will pursue that as well. So he might have helped me with my great grandmother while I was there too. We'll wait and see on that. They give you about a 30-minute, I think ours went more like 40, but they give you like a 30-minute consultation. And it's all very laid back, very friendly. But I think he was a very big help. Just, you can't always get an aha moment, and I didn't have one.
I think it's important to point out that here you've been doing genealogy for nearly 40 years and you still know when you need assistance.
Oh, absolutely. We all have brick walls. This one I've been banging my head against for all those years.
Yeah.
So, yes, ask for assistance. And it's not always where you expect it's going to be. I mean, I've gone to the churches. I've gone to some of the other places that other people have gone. I tried a different angle. Hopefully something will come out of it. He gave me some good tips that I am pursuing. So to me, it was well worth the visit.
Excellent.
And if I had had more time, I probably would have researched some other unanswered questions I had.
Mm-hmm.
But we had about a 2-hour window there. So I had a very short time to spend. I could go back for a week, to be perfectly honest.
Wow. Maybe we need to plan that.
Maybe we need a trip.
Yeah. Would you, what else do you think people should know about planning this kind of a trip?
Well, again, go prepared. You can send things in advance, but bring a synopsis of your research with you. Bring basics, a pencil, a magnifying glass, paper. I know it sounds silly, but have this stuff with you. Don't go in expecting miracles. They're far and few between, but they can happen. And if you have more time, I do recommend you spend more than 2 hours, because I honestly could have spent a lot more time. I had to pick and choose what I had the time to research while I was there.
Sure. Now, just logistically about the building, the genealogy is on the second floor. So
Of
you
the
went in,
library.
was there a greeter to direct you, or?
Yes, and this is a giant city
sounds
library.
like it.
So I walked through the first floor, which has a whole room dedicated to Lincoln research, and a whole room in like a children's lab for building things, and a massive amount. I finally found the front desk and said, I have no idea where I'm going. And she said, oh, that's easy. Go up the stairs. That's a genealogy. And so pretty much the whole second floor. If you can, I would also suggest, when you go out to their website, watch some of the videos they have out there. Get yourself acquainted with the facility of resources before you go. I did find that useful. They give tours, virtual tours, etc. At least I kind of knew what to expect when I walked in. I think that helps a lot.
You talked about their videos. They have a really great YouTube channel. And that's how I learned about them. I really was watching their YouTube channels during the pandemic. I was watching a lot of their videos. And I think even still, their webinars are free. I've signed up for quite a few of them.
And they have a regular publication. I don't remember what they call it, maybe Genealogy Gems or something like that. So there is a tremendous amount of stuff you can get virtually. And I do recommend the Ask a Genealogy Librarian, because you can ask a quick question like, where do I go next with my research? Here's where I am. Or questions about their catalog or their collections, questions about their programs. You can say, hey, on your online catalog, I found this record. I'm going to make this 20-hour drive north. Can you confirm that you even have that? They're not going to do any research for you. That's what you hire genealogists for.
Mm-hmm.
But they can answer those kinds of questions. And you can have a consultation virtually, by the way. You don't necessarily have to go
Oh.
in. At least, as I understand it, you can. I've not tried that, so I don't know how it goes. But I would think in my case, I would prefer person if you can get it. But if you can't, do a virtual consultation. They're, I believe, a tremendous resource that for me, doing this research as long as I have, having just found, I'm going to use a lot more.
Wow.
And I would go back.
So you took pictures with your phone. You didn't bring I need to bring, a pocket full of quarters because I'm going to make copies.
I did not.
Okay. And then did you have to pay to park? Is it like downtown into the city? Or
Well, I had a driver. My husband
Okay.
dropped me off because, like I said, my family gets bored with genealogy. I'm on my own. So
happens to the best
I don't
of us.
believe you had to park. I believe they have a parking garage, if memory serves me correctly. But again, their website can answer all those questions. They give you directions, where to park, how to park, all that stuff on their website.
Great.
All
So
the
there's
logistics
a
are out there.
great amount of information available to prepare if you were going on such a
And I
field
highly
trip.
recommend prepare. You don't want to waste your time. You don't want to waste the genealogy librarian's time. Be prepared when you walk in. Don't walk in with a booklet of all the things that you're trying to solve. Pick a question or two and dig deep. Now, we tell you that all in our podcasts all the time, but that's the reality, and dig deep. And like us here at East Lake Library, they're a family search affiliate.
Mm-hmm.
So you can get records from all over the world if you use the computer there in the library. Very similar to here, where I think our levels of affiliation are probably a little different because they're much larger than us. But we still have much more access to records than you have in your home with Family Search.
Absolutely. Yes. And you can call the East Lake Library or visit our website and make an appointment for genealogy research assistance on Wednesdays. And then you'll meet with Lois.
That's right. Wednesday mornings. Come on and visit me.
Mm-hmm. So do you have plans to visit somewhere next? Another field trip?
Not in the near future.
No.
No, that was a big one. And as I say, although it doesn't sound like much came out of it, as you know, Susan, one or two questions can send you on quite a chase. So I'm going to pursue those few.
Excellent.
He
You'll
gave
have to
me.
keep us posted on what you can glean from what direction he sent you.
I will do that.
Excellent.